there's no turning back
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Once again, this is Mr. Islam Answers back with yet another refutation against yet another anti-Islamist, anti-Muslim bigot. Her name, Brigitte Gabriel. She is said to be an Arab Christian from Lebanon. She is the head of the organization known as the American Congress for Truth. What you may not know about her, and which you should know, because this lets you know that her opinion is clearly biased and she has a clear agenda that we cannot trust her word. She is a member of the JNF, which is the Jewish National Fund. She is listed as one of the speakers on the Speakers Bureau. Now imagine that, a Jewish organization sponsoring a Christian to speak on their behalf. Imagine that. She's also a member of Hasbara Fellowship, which is a part of the Ministry of Propaganda for Israel. Okay, now I want you to see further why we can't trust her, because here she is speaking at the Joint Forces College in Norfolk, Virginia. A member of the audience, a Muslim member of the military gets up right after she just got finished telling the audience that you can't trust Muslim Americans. A Muslim brother who's part of the military gets up and tells her that, in contradiction to what she just said, that he has been a member of the U.S. military and served faithfully for 19 years. Then he goes on to ask her, it seems that it seems that your opinion is kind of biased. Therefore, can we really take your words seriously? And aren't you a member, or he asks her, are you a member of the Hasbara Fellowship? She lies to his face. She says no. She says, what's Hasbara Fellowship? What's that? He says, it's a group in Israel. She says, no. She's lying. Here's the proof.
Not trust having a Muslim in office when he has to make a decision to either be loyal to the United States or be loyal to Islam.
Ma'am, thank you. I'd like to point out that I'm an American soldier and practicing Muslim for 19 years, served the U.S. Army for past 19 years very proudly. For a previous point. Also, ma'am, your point of views, two questions. Are you a member of Hasbara Fellowship? And if it is, does that...
What's Hasbara Fellowship?
A fellowship in Israel? A organization?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
No.
Right here on the Hasbara website, okay, she is listed as a speaker as part of the Hasbara Fellowship Speakers Bureau. She is listed as one of their speakers. So here she is, proof that she lied. She lied right to his face, because she knew if she admitted that she was, then everybody would understand that she has a clear biased opinion and a clear anti-Muslim, pro-Israeli agenda, and therefore her word could not be taken as such. Okay, and this is not just ad hominem attack. I am letting people know this, but I'm going to deal with her claims as well. So don't come and tell me that this is just a personal attack. No, we're showing you that, number one, her as a person, she cannot be taken seriously because of her bias. And now I'm going to get into refuting her claims. Now, John Hagee says,
as a native Arab, Brigitte's expertise on Middle Eastern politics and the dangers of radical Islam is beyond compare.
So if that's his claim, then what better person to refute her than somebody like me, somebody who used to be a Christian, somebody who was born and raised here in the West, raised in America, somebody who left Christianity, rejected the ills of this society, and became a Muslim. What better person to refute her than somebody like me, who's the exact opposite of her? I'm from America. I'm from the West. And I left Christianity and became a Muslim. And I, too, in reverse, in the opposite of her, have been a victim of racist Christians here in America. So what better person to refute her than somebody like me? Now let's go ahead and proceed and get into her arguments and listen and see how we take her arguments and knock them down one by one. Let's get into it.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you.
It's a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you.
Recently, I saw you on Fox News with Neil Cavuto and was greatly impressed by your grasp of the geopolitical conditions of the Middle East, the agenda of the radical Islam, and the dangers radical Islam brings to America, to Israel, and to Western civilization.
Now, everyone, take note here how John Hagee makes this reference to Western civilization. And of course, they all do that. You notice how they always have to throw in this thing about the threat to Western civilization. And be clear, Brigitte always talks about it's time to get rid of being politically correct and throw it in the garbage. Here, listen to her right here when she talks about it.
Major problem for us because many people in this country do not know the facts. They're not educated because of political correctness, which I believe we need to take political correctness and throw it in the garbage where it belongs and start identifying the enemy and protecting our country.
Well, good. I agree with that. I agree. Everybody, let's put political correctness in the garbage and let's start telling it like it is. So good. Brigitte, I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to put political correctness in the garbage and I'm going to start telling it like it is, which I've been doing that already. But good. Now that you said it, good. So people don't get offended when I start telling it like it is. And here's what it is. When they start making these references to a threat to Western civilization, what they mean is that it is a threat to white Western power. That's what they mean. Okay? Have no doubts about it. That is what they mean when they talk about a threat to Western civilization. They're saying that this is a threat to white Western domination. White power is being threatened by the influx of Latinos, is being threatened by the growth of Islam, etc., etc. This is what they're saying. Have no doubts about it.
My 911 wake-up call happened when I was 10 years old. I'm an only child to a Christian retired businessman. We lived in a Christian town in South Lebanon called Marjayoun. We had already heard about war breaking out in different parts of Lebanon where Christians were being killed and massacred. But I woke up, my parents had tucked me in bed one night, and they were sitting eating their dinner in the family room. And all of a sudden we heard this big explosion explode around the house. The Muslims targeted our area because we were Christians living in a Christian town. They targeted our town trying to take it over to create a base from which to fight Israel. The Muslims and the Palestinians had come together as two Muslim forces fighting the Christians. They bombed my home, bringing it down and burying me under the rubble for 2.5 months. And when I was in the hospital, I would ask my parents, why did they do this to us? And my father would tell me, because we are infidels. Because we are Christians, the Muslims consider us infidels, and they want to kill us.
Okay. Now, as we heard her talking about her so-called 911 was when she was little, and supposedly the Muslims had done all these horrible things to her family and the Christian Arabs of Lebanon. What she's leaving out, everybody, what she's not telling you, is that actually the Muslims were not the ones who started or initiated these problems. Okay, she's not giving you the full story. What she's leaving out is that it was actually these problems, this civil war and activity started in Lebanon because of a group known as the Phalanges, okay, or Phalanges, I'm not sure how you say it, but known as the Phalanges. Here's the spelling, okay. This group was a political and military force of the Maronite Church, the Maronite Church in Lebanon. Okay, and what happened was, was their unbending right-wing policies and resistance to democratic institutions that were a contributing factor to the civil war in Lebanon. What she doesn't tell you is that this group even fought against other Maronite Christians for power. Groups like the, what they call the Tigers, they fought against the SLA, which is the Southern Lebanon Army, which is, you know, another group. And these Christians, you see, these Arab Christians, in particular the Phalanges or Phalanges, known as Kataib, the Kataib party, all these Arab Christians were a minority, having control under the tutelage of the French, of course, a Western European power, right? Being under the tutelage of the French, this minority of people held power over the majority of the people who are the Muslims in that area, you see. So this group resisted the democratic changes in institutions because they're the minority, yet they were holding the power over the majority, and they understood that if they practiced real democracy, as these people always talk about democracy, that they would be in the minority. And democracy means the majority has the say. And who are the majority? The Muslims, you see. So these minority of people held power over the rest, and they were oppressing the people, you see, slaughtering Muslims, even slaughtering, as I mentioned, other Maronite Christians. They would slaughter them as well in order to maintain power. So this is why the Muslims then began to wake up and resist. And what she also doesn't tell you is that in some cases, Arab Christians and Arab Muslims fought side by side for the liberation of Lebanon.